Hi everyone, whoever is here live today. It's Sunday, May 31st, last Sunday in May, the last Sunday that I said I would be here at 5 o'clock to do some dreaming and visioning for our future. Through this month, I don't know about you, but I've felt pretty emotional today. It's been a hell of a year. You know, we started off with wildfires in Australia and impeachment hearings, and like a thief in the night, we went into lockdown over this pandemic, and now the righteous anger protests across the United States, which may or may not be being infiltrated by anarchists or white supremacists or people with their own agenda that have nothing to do with the injustice of living black in America is happening, and I've cried today, and I've been angry today, and I've felt unsettled today. And as I was thinking about today, this little session here with everyone, I was reminded of the message I received on Thursday from my morning meditation, which was, when you do the work for one, you do the work for all. Do your work. And, you know, news about Floyd and his death in Minneapolis was just coming out. This is before the riots started happening. And I think that this was a reassuring message, because I don't know about you, but there are times when I think that I should be solving world poverty, the pain of the world, the injustice of the world, the hatred, the war, it just feels overwhelming. It just feels really overwhelming sometimes, and I get dispirited. I get disheartened. Sometimes I feel like the work that I do is like spitting in the ocean. So that's where I am today. Just part of the reason I came back outside to broadcast today, because we have blue skies and sunshine, and it's windy and a little cooler, but it's flowers are blooming, and you know, there's the promise. There's the promise of new life and something larger than what it may appear to be at this time. Astrologists have been talking about the year 2020 for years. Oh boy. I'm also reminded in a number of ways that, you know, we're not the first people to live through discomfort, pain, unsettled times. I just watched a miniseries with my husband about President Grant this week, and when the city of Vicksburg was under siege, the people of Vicksburg were living in caves under the city, and they were being bombarded constantly, shelled. And the only time they would come out was morning, noon, and night, when the military men, the army, would take their break and stop shelling because they were eating. And I looked at my husband and I said, well, there you go. And so, you know, when Pearl Harbor was bombed, the country was thrown into disarray. The civil rights of the 60s, I mean, there have been times forever and ever. And, you know, it's not just our country. It's not just us. I read in the paper today that a Palestinian man was killed in the old city of Jerusalem, which is flaming the tensions in Israel and in Jerusalem that have been there for a long time as well. So it's not just us, you know. This is part of the human condition. And so when I come back to that message I received this week about the power of one, to do your work. And actually I was thinking about COVID and the power of one, the super spreader, right? Now we know one asymptomatic person or someone who's in just the beginning of the disease can actually spread this virus to hundreds of people. And I thought, well, there you go. That's the power of one. And I am reminded that we don't always know the effects of our kindness or our work or the words that we speak. It's like that drop that drops into water and it spreads, and we don't always see the ripple effect of what we do, and that gives me some hope. Helps me in my disheartedness to hold on to some hope. So, you know, we all have different work in this community of ours. We for some of us right now, the only work we can do is to take care of ourselves. Maybe we're sick, or we're caring for someone who is, and that's all the work we can do right now. Or maybe the work we're doing is actually in the front lines of this healthcare crisis. Or, maybe the work that we can do is to march in protest, to use our words, to use our whatever resources we have to support people who are fighting for justice, whether it's in Minneapolis or whether it's on the southern border where children are still living in cages. It's speaking out. And maybe not. Maybe the only work you can do right now, maybe you're homebound, and maybe the only work you can do right now is just to pray and to send loving, kind thoughts to people, or maybe call someone else who is shut in and share the troubles that you have, or the experience that you're having, right? We all have our own work to do. And it is important to remember that, the work that we do is not lost. We know this from science. Energy is never gained or lost in a system, ever. Transformed, yes, but lost, no. So, a little word of encouragement, not only for myself, but hopefully for a few other people too. So, today, as always, I come back to the body, come back to the heart. And if you're feeling unsettled, a bit unsettled like I am today, I think we're not going to necessarily do 10 minutes of silence. I think what I'm going to start with is coming back to our center, coming back to our body. It's the only thing we have. It's our container. So I would invite you to place your feet on the floor, if they're not there already, or whatever you're sitting on or standing on or cross-legged on, and really feel how that feels against your body. Maybe you're lying down in bed. Maybe you have the entire length of your body. Maybe you're on the couch. Maybe the entire length of your body. Feel what it feels like to be supported. Feel that couch or that chair that I'm sitting on, the stone in my garden. Feel what that feels like. And feel that against the earth. Just let your mind travel down. Feel against the earth. And feel her support. All the way down to the rock bed. And maybe you put one hand on your heart and maybe one hand on your belly, or maybe just a couple of hands on your heart. And I really want you to just feel what that touch feels like. There's a lot of us missing touch in our life right now. I miss having a pedicure. I miss touching my clients. I feel lucky that I have a husband that I can have a hug from. So I really want you to feel that hand on your chest and maybe your belly, or both hands on your chest. Feel what it feels like to your hand. Feel what it feels like to your chest. And maybe tune into how it feels to breathe. Can you feel your lungs fill with air? Can you feel your ribs expand? Can you feel your belly moving in and out? Can you feel your heart beating inside your chest? Maybe you can even feel the pulse of it in the tips of your fingers pressed against your chest. Maybe not. As you feel yourself inside your body, take a moment to notice maybe what it smells like where you are, what sounds there are around you. One of the best ways we have to counteract feeling unsettled or chaos or uncertainty or upheaval or things we don't understand or things we have no control over is to just take these few minutes, feel our bodies, feel ourselves in our bodies, place ourselves in a place. And from here, I would like us all, each and every one of us, to offer ourselves a cup full of kindness and self-compassion and love and care, and maybe a pat on the back because you're still here. Being here, feeling yourself here. Maybe you even do pat yourself on the back. You've made it this far. Good for you, you know? Maybe your work right now is delving deep into healing intergenerational trauma or some form of addiction or some really deep wound that you've been afraid to go into. Maybe your work right now is not to do that. because everything else is too much to bear. That's okay. We're all in this together. When we do the work for one, we do the work for all. Every small change that we create shifts the system. It shifts the entire system. Again, we know this from science. It's not woo-woo medicine. It's based in science. That smile you offer the cashier at the grocery store with your eyes, because no one can see it under your mask. The sign of peace, whatever it is that you can offer to another human being. Is magnified and multiplied. And so from offering that love and compassion and kindness to ourselves, I'd like to take a few minutes and hold collective space. For all of those who have died across the world, not just here, across the world from this pandemic. All those who have been deeply affected by it. Which is pretty much everyone. But especially for those who have lost a loved one, or have battled the disease itself, or have lost their jobs, are afraid to go to work because they're afraid of getting sick or bringing it home to someone they love. Those hard-hit communities like the Navajo Nation in our own country, people of color, lower socioeconomic brackets that always seem to bear the brunt. And I would like to hold space for all those who are affected by injustice, whether because of the color of their skin, or their religion, or their politics, or the language they speak, or physical abnormalities. I don't like that word. Physical challenges, mental challenges. Those things that humans look to divide us instead of the things that we look to, our common humanity that can bring us together. For those whose life is torn by war, lift up all of them and hold space and send love from my heart to theirs, to yours, all of you who are listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. future looks like. I know what I'd like the future to look like. Peace on earth would be great. If I had a magic wand and I could wave it, I think that's the first thing I would wish for is peace, prosperity, and health for all people. I'm sure each one of you with me listening has your own vision, desire, heartfelt guidance for the perfect world that we would all like to live in. And it's important to remember that we do have power and we do have control no matter what each day brings. We have the ability to live those ideals ourselves each and every day and reflect them into the world. When we love ourselves even one iota more, when we grant ourselves self-compassion or forgiveness to a younger self who maybe made a decision that we still struggle with, when we can make those changes inside ourselves in our own hearts, that's how we change the world, one at a time. And as I was reflecting on that message of one for all and one for all, or the power of one, or the super spreader, not of COVID, but of loving kindness and mercy and justice for all. Because there is a time to be angry and there is a time to speak out. I was reminded of one, just one. We're all one. In the end, everything is one. Thank you all. Thank you all for showing up. I will invite each of you, if you feel so inclined, to set your time and follow through on the 10 minutes of silence that we have been practicing together. I did mine this morning, actually. I needed it more this morning than I do right now. I definitely needed something different right now. So offering to you what I needed for myself. Thank you again. I will see you all out there, and be safe, be well, and here's to the power of one.